Welcome to Down in Front. This is episode 43. We're going to be reviewing Daybreakers, and oh, that's Joel over
Hi.
there, suffering over there. We're going to be reviewing Daybreakers, and followed by a guest review from my lovely little sister Leah and Sam. They're gonna be reviewing the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus and what was the other one? Youth in Revolt.
Yep.
The reason they're reviewing it is because I fell asleep and slept through both of them, all the way through. I was really struggling. I really tried, but I just couldn't do it. So, theoretically, I was there. I just slept through it.
You want to tell us about your dreams during the whole
Yeah, I dreamt about. Yeah, I don't know. Daybreakers is Ethan Hawke and Willem Dafoe in a vampire horror awesomeness.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one was a story of vampires are the population of the world now, and humans are an endangered species, and the vampires are trying to find a blood substitute because of the dwindling population of humans.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan Hawke is the head hematology doctor, who is trying to find that blood substitute.
Wouldn't all doctors be like hematology doctors if everybody was a vampire? 'Cause
Theoretically.
what else are you gonna look at?
Yeah, it's not like you're looking for cancer anymore.
Are you gonna be like a burn doctor?
Yeah.
It's not gonna work.
No, you got steak removal.
Yeah. Steak removal.
It's like this guy looked at a cross and his eyes are burning. Anyway, yeah, Ethan Hawke was the worst part of this movie, but it was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah. I mean, these guys. I don't remember the names, like the Spierig brothers or whatever. They do the jump out and scare you stuff, which normally I can't stand, but it's usually because it's build up, build up, build up, and then boom, hit you with a scary. These guys don't do the build up thing at all. They just throw it right at you, and it starts at the very beginning of the movie. You sit down, credits, all like Interview with a Vampire, and then it just hits you in the face. And they do that, well, through most of the movie.
Yeah.
There's not really any tension building or anything like that. It's all mostly just shock factor stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because it's basically just a visual effects marathon, you know? And they had to do like everything ADR because everybody had these long fangs in their mouth.
Yeah.
And
all the F's sounded really funny.
you know, I don't know if it's just me or not, but whenever if everybody in the entire area is with the fangs and all have the same eye colors, I start giggling. And it's kind of like in Howard the Duck when they go to Duck Planet and everything is duck this, duck that, you know, and they're having all these duck jokes except everything's vampires. You know, that is just silly.
Yeah, it's like, okay, we get it. Everybody's a vampire.
Yeah, everybody's a vampire.
The teeth whitening ad.
Yeah.
With the big fang. Yeah, that was kind of goofy.
Yeah, I mean, they might as well just thrown up like the Statue of Liberty and had fangs on it or something. You know, because they just went overboard with that. But really, the whole plot of the story is just that they're trying to find a blood substitute, and then they kind of do.
Yeah.
You know, but a couple of things about this one that I wasn't too happy about. Number one, the vampire Ethan Hawke's guy, his name's Edward.
Yeah.
That's not good. You don't want to play into any of that Twilight business, you know. What's really cool about this is that all the vampire stuff is just visceral. They're monsters just waiting to come out. And really, if you look at it all film schooly and you want to dig into the story a little bit, it's kind of like a class war, you know. You've got the humans are the top, the vampires show up, and it's an infected, and they're looked at as like a cancer or disease, and then eventually, you know, they rise up to the top. They're the main population. But then when they run out of blood, they turn into the crazy monsters. So those guys are down at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And when those guys start becoming the main population, then it's a big deal, and the vampires got to do something, you know. So it's kind of history repeating itself.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also a little bit of stuff that I saw that was really, really Holocausty that I was kind of uncomfortable with.
Yeah.
Because they do, they have this scene where they take these particular vampires and chain them up and drive a Humvee out into the sun. And I mean, it's very Schindler's List, and it's, yeah. I mean, I'm in a vampire movie, okay? You know, I don't wanna be all like tear felt, and you know, I'm not that kind of vampire guy. You know, I don't want to be thinking about the Holocaust or anything like that. I'm waiting for Blade to show up and kill all these, you know. I almost cussed on the air again. To kill all these vampires real quick, you know. I just want some action in that.
Well, one thing I'm glad that they spared us is a couple of things. One thing that they spared us was the thing that every vampire movie in the last 15 years or so has done, which is, you know, they point out all the old folklore of vampires and say, oh, that's just bogus. You know, it's like, oh, crucifixes don't work. Coffins, oh, no, that's just hooey. But they're like, that's just Hollywood. You've been watching too many movies. We didn't have to deal with that over and over again.
Yeah.
But they replaced it with the hokey, the whole world's a vampire thing. But the other thing, you mentioned that they were all monsters. One thing that I noticed was everybody was very human. Like like when one of those creatures comes into Ethan Hawke's house, Ethan Hawke is genuinely scared. I mean, which points out just because you're a vampire doesn't mean you're this big, powerful, you know, overlord being that can beat the crap out of anything, is not scared of anything.
Yeah.
It gave the vampires a very human element. And that's what I really loved about it. Is that, you know, otherwise it would just be like hundreds of millions of these crazy, overpowerful monsters, and that was kind of cool too.
They don't fly. They don't turn into the mist. They don't do anything crazy like that. They're not super powered. They're just stronger. They need blood. You know,
And they had the same death. I always like to see vampire movies where they have different kinds of death. Like if you notice at the end of, I think it was Blade, one of the Blade, I think it was the third one. Somebody comes out, like Blade is holding her, and he holds her, and the sun comes up, and she like twinkles away. But everybody else that he kills or gets
bursts
hit by
into
the sun
flames and screams,
explodes.
painful death.
Exactly. There's different deaths for whichever character it is. In this one, no matter who it is, when they get stabbed in the heart, they explode. When they get hit by the sun, they explode.
Oh, they explode good, too.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Usually it's like you get hit and it's like, oh, they go into flames and it just goes up. These guys go kablooey.
Yeah.
You know, they turn into a big old bomb. And I don't know, I just thought that was kind of
Yeah,
cool
it's
and
like the death it's kind of a general death, so it's not like, you know, oh, they have some mystical, like Kiefer Sutherland in Lost Boys, where he just kind of, and the sun and the light comes on him, and it's very ethereal. I'm kind of glad we didn't have to deal with too much of that. But otherwise, that was just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and
Like if you dig the gore, that's definitely.
Yeah, there's some real surprise moments in there. I mean, usually there's two parts that really got me going, and that is Sam Neill's character. There's actually a couple of scenes with Sam Neill and his daughter that I really dug on, and then there's a huge death at the end that's just one long shot.
Yep.
That's just destroying this person, and like they come down in an elevator and you see an arm, like there's no cuts. Arm gets ripped off. This arm gets ripped off. Head gets ripped off. That's really rad.
Yeah.
You know, and
If you can put that in a movie and get away with it and make it look real, that's impressive.
it's a lot of fun. But
So if
I'm
you
not gonna-
enjoy it, definitely check it out. If you enjoy that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
but definitely don't take your kids to it. And if you've got a weak stomach, I wouldn't. I'd kind of steer clear.
yeah,
Of
but
course,
if you
course,
dig
I guess it's
vampire horror movies, then
I guess it's nothing compared to Antichrist, though.
yeah, yeah.
All right. Well, that's about it for Daybreakers. I'm going to step away now, and we're going to replace me with Leah Neitzert, who is going to talk about the Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus, because I suck.
That's cool. Oh, welcome back. I'm Joel. This is Leah Neitzert. We are going to hit you with some Dr. Parnassus. What'd you think?
I went in there thinking that it was going to be really, really colorful, and it really, really was, but it was a little bit grayer than I thought it was going to be.
Grayer in the sense of it was horribly boring.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I think with the passing of Heath Ledger, the script suffered a lot.
You can't watch this movie without having a little bit of that hit you. Um, Especially since the first time you see Heath Ledger, he's in a noose hanging from a bridge being dead.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like, look what we did. And then, you know, they pick him up and of course they save him and bring him back. But the whole movie is just overshadowed by Heath Ledger's being dead. And I'm sorry. I mean, a time enough has passed where, I mean, you either put this movie out as like a short film where he has all his parts in it, or you just recast the thing. Now I know that nobody wants to recast Heath Ledger and do the whole thing over again, but you don't mix and match with different actors and try to fill it up.
Well, what they did is they tried to, when he went through there's a magic mirror into a different world, his appearance changed, and it was Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and I just now forgot the last one.
Colin Farrell.
Colin Farrell. And they did a good job, but it was a little much. And then the last one is that he's not even there at the end, because of course he wasn't there at the end. It's Colin Farrell finishing it up, and it's just an awkward ending for him in the Magic Land.
The thing that I always go back to is, do you guys remember Roseanne at all? They had a Becky, and then all of a sudden there was a new Becky, and everybody's like, "Who's this?" And they're like, "Oh, I'm Becky. I've been this way the whole time." No, you're not Becky. That's exactly how it is every time when they go in the mirror. Now I understand what they had to do for it, but it just didn't work for me. You know, they're all supposed to be little aspects of his personality and whatnot, but I mean, because it's a different actor, it's not like a different aspect of his personality. It's a whole nother person. You know, if that was still Heath Ledger, and he was still going through the mirror, and it was him, and you saw him act, that would have been really cool. But when Johnny Depp shows up, I'm like, oh, hey, Johnny Depp.
Yeah, that was my problem, is that like the first time he goes through and he's Johnny Depp, he's in somebody else's imagination, and that's why his appearance changes. But his whole personality changed, and I was like, that's not the same character. That's a totally different character. And the same thing happens with Colin Farrell at the end. It's a totally different character from the guy you met at the beginning. And you're like, okay, that's strange and kind of uncomfortable.
Terry Gilliam will hit you with some amazing visuals. Baron Munchausen is one of my favorite movies. Time Bandits is popular at my house. Which I gotta mention, Vern Troyer was in this movie. Mini-Me, he's never gonna get past that. I can still call him Mini-Me, right? Anyway, Vern Troyer is not an actor. He's a little person. You can't just put him up there and expect some weight, you know, because we've got some craziness going on in the booth. Vern Troyer is in this, and he's a really pivotal character. I mean, he's Dr. Parnassus's, you know, right pocket guy.
Yeah.
But he's just, he's useless in this. I mean, he comes in and he's got that high-pitched voice, and he's like, "Hi, I'm Mini-Me," and then he goes on somewhere.
And he's the sarcastic part of it, and that's just about it.
Yeah. But Christopher Plummer was great. Tom Waits was amazing. If this would have been like, you know, if they would have had one actor come in and do the whole thing like they had planned to, I think this could have been an amazing movie. But they can't do that, you know. And one thing I've noticed in Gilliam films is like the CG stuff. You'd think that CG would be like perfect for Gilliam, you know, like you can open up the magic into his mind, which is what I thought this was going to be. But his CG and special effects are always like a generation behind. You know, like they seem like Nintendo 64 graphics. You know, like he shows up and, you know, like half of Mario pops up, and it's just it's off-putting because you're used to this stuff like you know, like the stuff from Weta and anything from K&B, and it's way better. You'd think that with an imagination like Gilliam, he'd be able to put that out there. I really think he needs to stop writing his own scripts because this man cannot tell a story to save his life. What did you get from this? What was the story for that you remember?
It was the whole theme of the whole movie is choices between good and bad, and how you have to make the choice apparently between the good imagination and the bad imagination, which is what people did when they went through the mirror. And out of it, I understood that you had to make the good choices and be a good person, but you still came out on the other side with nothing to gain.
That's the thing, though,
And
is
there was-
on the choices, there's the good and the bad, right? But it's Dr. Parnassus and the devil are giving you these choices.
Yeah.
But they can still try to trick you.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, well, I should totally go and save this kid. That would be the best thing. It's like, nope, that kid's the Antichrist. Like, but I was just doing the good thing, you know. So you never really know what's going on in this thing. That's what really got me. It's like you can make the good choice, but no matter what, you're gonna end up screwing up somehow because they're just messing with you. And that's how I felt the whole time, was that I was just being messed with.
Well, yeah, and the uncomfortable parts is what probably got to me is the main character girl in it is it's reiterated that she's 16.
She's about to be 16.
About to be 16, and then the day of she's 16, and it's really awkward. And I felt bad, especially for Colin Farrell at the end, where it was just kind of awkward, and you're like reminded over and over. By the way, she's 16.
Oh yeah, she's absolutely stunning too. I mean,
She's very pretty.
She's a beautiful girl. But through the whole thing, she's like, I'm 15, I'm a woman now. And like, not really, you know, not that I really want to. I mean. And then on her 16th birthday, something's supposed to happen, but like through the middle of the movie, all of a sudden she's like wearing low-cut dresses and like showing some leg and making out with Heath Ledger, which I'm sorry, but like even when I watch old movies with actors that are dead, there's still a creep factor. And every time Heath Ledger shows up, I'm just like, ooh. You know, because I mean, he's a great actor, and you see a little bit of the Joker in there too. Like you hear a little bit of the voice.
Yeah.
Really cool, but still horribly creepy.
That was the creepy part for me when he first wakes up after they've saved him. He's out of it, and he doesn't know where he is, and he sounds completely crazy. And I was just like, oh my gosh, is he still on that personality line with the Joker? And then later he gets a little bit better, but even then, when he's in that mask and he's just creeptastic, and it's just out there.
And his
it was really hard for me
character
to
of
watch.
Tony is one of the most out there characters that I've ever seen. I mean, you'd think that it's kind of an arc with the character, but it's not. It's more like, you know, like the pulse, you know, you go up and down and then up and down and then.
Understanding the moral of the story was good choices and that kind of thing. I thought it was going to be like he was going to change. He did this horrible thing, and he wasn't a great guy, and I thought through the choice he was going to change. And it was a really kind of a disappointment at the end.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, basically the character goes from somebody you're rooting for into something completely different in another way. But it's just, you know, it's another Gilliam film. If you like the visuals, I mean, maybe you can mute it. Christopher Plummer does give everybody in this gives good performances.
Oh, yeah.
But the story just doesn't tie it all together, and it's weighed down by Heath Ledger. If you're gonna just try out some Terry Gilliam stuff, try some of the older stuff. Stay away from Brazil, though. Probably gonna get a bunch of hate for that, but stay away from Brazil. But I mean, it's not worth the ticket for the movie. Maybe check it out on Blu-ray, just for the performances. And if you got to have your Heath Ledger collection, you know, get your Knight's Tale and your Dr. Parnassus. Overall disappointment. Next up, we got what we do, Youth and Revolt with Samantha Schwartzman.
I say we let the kid do the dishes. You and I retire to the master bedroom.
Mom, do you think it's a puppy love thing with Jerry, or is he someone that I can look forward to having around for years to come?
Honey, this is Sheenie Saunders. She just stopped by to introduce herself. Isn't that neighborly?
For Nick, Sheenie was the one.
I'm going on a hike. I'd ask you to come along, but you haven't got any hiking boots, maps, or a compass.
No, fine, I do all my hiking freeform. I enter the wilderness with nothing more than a childlike sense of wonder.
Do you mind applying this to my exposed areas?
Sure.
Until she became the one
You get turned on easily.
who got away.
She certainly sounds uninhibited. I wonder if she likes intelligent boys.
Nick, you're very nice, but I just don't have those feelings for you.
Oh, I see.
Now, to win her over, he'll have to give love.
I've decided to create a supplementary persona named Francois Dillinger. You're not going to get this girl by sitting around listening to records. Bold, contemptuous of authority. Thanks for breakfast.
Where are you going?
And irresistible to women.
Nick?
Do you think I could cuddle next to you? Or we could do more than just cuddle. Why don't you pull down these blankets and show me what you're hiding under there?
Is that what you want me to do?
Say yes.
What's happened to your clothes, son?
Ironess took them. And why don't you have any clothes on?
Solidarity.
Of course.
This fall,
Now it's time to rebel, Nick. Can we keep it to the absolute minimum amount of destruction possible? Okay, absolute minimum. That's good.
how far will one guy go
You said a $5 million fire?
I refuse to stand for such allegations.
for the girl of his dreams?
I burned down Berkeley for you.
That's so romantic, Nikki.
We need to get out of town. I can't leave without Shaney. Think, is this girl worth going to jail for? We could be outlaws together.
I have to think.
Seems to me you've got two options. Fake your own death or commit suicide.
Are you on me? Okay.
It's been on you.
Oh. And welcome back to Down in Front. I am Joel Shuttlesworth. This is Sam Schwartzman. Youth in Revolt, ready to go. What'd you think?
Didn't like it.
Didn't like it?
Boring.
It was boring because Michael Cera is doing the same shtick as always. Yeah, you guys thought I was going to say something else. Doing the same thing. And I love Arrested Development. George Michael, the character he played in that for 3 seasons, was hilarious. This put upon young man, you know, who just has the whole world against him. Basically his whole family in that one. In this movie, I don't know, he's just kind of trotting along, you know? And we watched this movie, it's based on a book, and you can very much tell that it's based on a book. It sounds like an old man going, this is what the kids nowadays talk like, and it's not like the Diablo Cody, you know, honest to blog business. I mean, they're all speaking proper. Like they all just have a dictionary thesaurus back in their back. Like even the jock guy that shows up is prim and proper and speaks like impeccably. Like I'm looking up half the words they're saying in this thing. And it's rated R, so I'm looking up cuss words too. But the best part of this movie was Michael Cera doing something different, which was the Francois Dillinger. And I just thought that was amazing. He finally did something different because he's had the same thing, like, what was it, year 1, I think, with Jack Black? Same character as a caveman. Now, if you can't, I mean, if he doesn't go into space with this character, then we're missing some good opportunities here because it's the same character. If we take Francois Dillinger from Youth in Revolt and put him in a new movie, I'll enjoy that. But
Probably won't happen.
never going to happen because he was going to keep doing the same thing, and we've even got that one guy pretending to be Michael Cera in Zombieland. But what's really weird about this is when it goes in and out of the animation parts. I mean, I don't know, I'm kind of stealing the whole show here from you.
It's fine with me.
But it goes from live action into a weird claymation into a weird there's like a video. It's not the AHA video, but there's another video where it's like paper cutouts, you know, except the paper cutouts are totally doing it. You know what I'm saying?
Nope. That's all you.
The guys. Well, the only one who saw this movie.
Yep.
He's taken some mushrooms, right? Francois Dillinger. It's a really funny scene because, like, the character, I can't remember his name because he was stupid and lame. We'll call him George Michael. We'll call him Michael Cera, whatever. He eats a couple of caps of mushrooms. And then his Tyler Durden, Francois Dillinger, walks in and eats a couple more and then walks to the other side of him, eats a couple more, says, have fun. And then, you know, what does he do when, you know, what does everybody usually do when they're tripping on mushrooms? He looks through a sex book. And so he opens it up, and it's like a Kama Sutra or whatever. I don't need that book. I don't know what it is. But you open it up, and the illustrations start floating off.
And he tries to poke it.
Yeah, and he tries to give it a poke with the pinky. But it's weird and off-putting. That part actually sounds kind of funny, but I'm doing it way more justice than it was in the movie. It shows up out of nowhere. It's not like a fantasy film or anything like that. I felt like the humor was real elitist, you know, like Dennis Miller type humor, where if you're not laughing, it must mean you're stupid because you don't get it, you know. But I'm not laughing because the stuff's not funny, you know. If somebody, you know, it's that real dry humor, and I'm staring at the screen just waiting for something to happen. And I thought, like she does, like she's doing right there. But we got some issues going on.
Exactly.
Anyway, it's really not worth your time, at least as far as I'm concerned. There's nothing that's not in the trailer. If you've seen the trailer, you've seen every single thing that happens. It's another one of those that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Characters I didn't find believable. The story was kind of ho-hum. But as the youthiest member of the Down in Front family, what did you think?
It was boring. The only thing that made it interesting is I had my roommates giving me commentary.
Oh, so if you've got some funny friends, take them to the movie,
And
and
then it'll
maybe
be
you'll have a good
interesting.
laugh. No, it's really, it's nothing much at all. I mean, if you like George Michael, go and watch Arrested Development. If you like Michael Cera stuff, go watch Superbad. This is his character at the weakest. The only part that's going to be good is when he plays that other character, but it's in there so very little. I'd have to say skip it. I wouldn't even recommend this to catch it on DVD. Because really, I mean, I was bored through the whole thing, and this was an early movie. Andy slept through the whole thing, which is why you don't see lovely Andy up here. But it's really just not a lot of fun. I think that pretty much does it for this one.
Pretty much. Not much to say.
There's really not much to say.
I think you covered it all.
Yeah, what are you gonna say about this movie that I didn't repeat 3 times? So I guess that's it for this week's episode of Down in Front. Look us up on Facebook, Down in Front. You can check us out at downinfront.blip.tv. Catch up on all the old episodes. Also, downinfront1@gmail.com. We'd like to give a special thanks out to Hollywood Theaters and Ragtag Cinema for providing us with our wonderful film adventures. Also with Mackenzie Seafood and Steaks for supplying us with good eats whenever we go down there. Great place. I guess until next time, catch you later. Bye.
6.5 minutes to fill now.
What do you want me to do?
5.5 minutes left to fill.
Oops.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yay.
You did it.
Damn, Joel.
What?
You didn't let her talk at all.
I love them.
I tried.
No?
What do you want? Yes, I did.
What'd you think? It's boring. Okay, talk.
I gotta cover. I'm like doodle doop 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 hitting all the notes. I gotta cover up all the holes.
No, you did well. So, damn, Sam, talk.
Yeah, what are you yelling at me for? Yell at her.
Is this like the only